I just wanted to say thank you so much for inviting me into your homes. And my name is John Sexton. I'm actually here in San Diego. I'm an outreach representative. I usually go to high schools and whatnot to talk with students and share information about our school. But we're going to be doing it virtually this time. So I'm going to start off with a short video, and I want you to know that I'm going to cover a ton of ground. So don't worry if you have a question. Chances are I'll probably get to it, and then we're going to have tons of time at the end for multiple questions and whatnot. So I'm going to give you some opportunities for free courses at the school, tell you about how we do things and what kind of student comes to us and what you can expect from us and what we expect from a student that comes to our school. So I'm going to start off with a real short video, and then we're going to get going right after that. So away we go. That is just the briefest introduction. I understand that, but we're going to cover so much more ground. I'm going to show you some videos and things like that. And just so you know, our school exists primarily for, that student that has always carried around a sketchbook, or that loves their cell phone, loves websites, and loves their movies and animation and video games, apps on their phone. They love to doodle. They love fashion. Think about maybe opening up their own fashion line, or they see a car going down the street and they think, oh man, that would be so cool to be able to design a car. But most importantly, it's because a lot of students, when they mention the arts to their family or their friends, someone inevitably pops up and says, that's bad career choice. There's no money in art. There's no, there's all this stuff. It's just not for you. But in reality, if any of those things pertain to you, this is exactly why we exist. Once again, my name is John. You're going to see this icon. I highly recommend having your camera out, not only because of the attendance QR code. I'm going to have a QR code later concerning our free pre-college art experience courses and whatnot. So if you do see this, prepare to take a picture. I know this is going to be recorded, which is fantastic, so you'll be able to go back to it, but this is just to give you some immediate information. If you're thinking, to yourself, well, I have to be an amazing artist to go to an art college like the Academy of Art University, or to, pursue a career in art. Well, think again. Art and design skills, like just about everything, can be learned. One of the great opportunities for all high school students is our pre-college program. You can jumpstart your art and design education while earning money towards your college degree if you come to our school. As you can see on the screen, this is an opportunity. If you are exploring different areas, you can actually, while freshman through senior, try out courses through our portal. It's online, and you can kind of explore some of these areas, and you can kind of show off a little bit of what you've done and learn a little bit more. If you don't go to our school, that's fine. This will just improve your portfolio, but it's a great way for you to try things out. And for every course that you pass, you can earn up to $1,000 scholarship, up to $4,000 total. So I'll give you a ton more information about that later. But let's talk about art. Let's talk about art school. A lot of people think they have specific ideas what art is, but when you think of it, you may not realize it, but art influences everything around you. A lot of people think of art as just the fine arts. They think of drawing, they think of sculpture, they think of painting, photography. Some only think of it as arts and crafts or hobbies. Some people only think of it as a painting in a museum, but reality is we wear art every single day. The jewelry and the clothing that we wear, everything is designed by somebody. And that's something that I want you to kind of think about, is everything around you is gone through the hands of a designer. So again, this is we do have some fashion pre-college art classes. If you ever think about how a car is designed, well, They study 3D modeling and design. They use programs like ZBrush, Procreate, and they kind of revolutionize the way that we create just about everything. So it goes from concept all the way to model. So if you ever wonder, how does a car get made? This is it. Walk through the grocery store. Every single label, every single package is created by graphic designers. They learn about color theory, composition. They learn tools like Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign and whatnot. Think about driving down the street. How many billboards do you see? How many ads do you see on television? You know, what logos pop out to you? You know, you think of Nike or Adidas or whatnot. You can immediately think about what those look like. You're like walking down the street, even on the bus stop, someone got paid to make that. You know, think about all the video games that you love to play. They have to be programmed, which is something that can be taught, as well as built. So visually, you know, interface design, looking at environmental design, the characters that go into those, how to build those characters and animate those characters. Think about all the stuff around you. Absolutely everything had its hand in design. Now, this is a project by one of our industrial design students. Industrial designers create everything from concept or idea to prototype. So the idea for these speed climbing shoes was designed with the 2024 Olympics in mind, which is going to be an actual feat in the 2024 Olympics, speed climbing. Who would have thought? But how does that stuff even get made? Well, industrial designers design that. And right now, artists are in more demand than ever because of, think about all the things that we consume every day, from vision to movies to toys to clothing. Absolutely everything has to be designed. And if you're one of those people that is creatively inclined, you are the visionary of tomorrow. If you look around, everything is designed. The building you're in, the room you're in, the chair you're sitting in, your lamp, your desk, your computer, your shoes, your iPhone or your Galaxy or whatever you're using, the clothing that you wear, absolutely everything comes from design. So careers on the art are on the rise. That's why the Academy of Art University was founded in San Francisco way back in 1929. Over 90 years later, we are now one of the leading regionally and nationally accredited schools in art. And for your seniors, counselors, parents, are they accredited? We are WASC accredited, but we also have programmatic accreditations in things like interior design and architecture and whatnot. We've been around for a long time, so we want to make sure our students are well prepared. Taught by people that do this for a living. You learn from people that are actually active in their environment, and they want to push you to learn I always say how to walk the walk and talk the talk. So that's the business, the language, and the culture of the industry you want to go into. Believe it or not, we have automotive restoration. You know, someone finds an old car in a barn somewhere, our students know how to restore that back to its original glory. So we want to make sure that students have the tools available to them. It's an art degree. Here's that picture. You might want to snap a picture. And I just want to let you know that absolutely everything I'm covering, plus a ton more, is on our website, academyart.edu. So these are all of our areas of study. Everything from acting to writing for film, music production, photography, fashion, interior design, industrial design, animation, video game design. If you see it or touch it or feel it, pretty much it has been designed. So we offer associate's, bachelor's, and master's degrees in over 22 areas of study, from acting all the way to writing for film. Academy pioneered online education almost 2 decades ago. Everybody's doing this for the first time this year or last year, and everybody's like, what is this all about? Well, we have students from over 112 countries around the world completing our programs online. And it is amazing that, you know, taking something like art can be taught online, but we see it as a skill and something that can be actively built upon, even if you're working on an online format. But just so you know, you want to go to college, we call San Francisco our home. If you go around San Francisco, you'll be hard pressed not to see our symbol, because we have over 40 buildings around the city, half of which are dorms. A lot of people ask about, do you have dorms or not? Absolutely. We have buildings from Golden Gate Park all the way to the business district. You might not be surprised, for someone who builds video games also has a very active esports system. So we believe in, students who love to game, get out there and compete with schools around the world. But we're the only art school that has an NCAA Division II sports program. So you can see all the different sports that we actually have. And we're just like any other college. We recruit, we want the best of the best. And it's kind of interesting because, like me, I played soccer my entire life, but I was also an artist. I have a master's degree in painting and metalsmithing, and I played soccer at the same time. So it is true. It is possible to be, artsy as well as into sports. So I'm living proof. Now, the pandemic changed everything up, as it did for everybody else. So right now we are 100% virtual. And because we've been doing it for so long, it was rather seamless. But when our students get back to the classrooms, we want them to know that they are using state-of-the-art equipment. We lease our equipment, which means when something bigger and better comes out, you're going to be using it. If you're going to be a producer for television or for radio, you need to use, how to use all the boards and the microphones and all the equipment and whatnot. If you're going to be a fashion designer, how to use the, industrial grade sergers and sewing machines and body forms, and plenty of room to move around, especially if you're going to be doing any kind of prototyping for cars or material, or, shoes, you name it. Now, one of the things about a school like ours is you're not there just to get that piece of paper. The diploma, the degree that you get is incredibly important. It means that you're a citizen of the world. And we take classes like English and speech very seriously because that makes you a better communicator. But also, you're going to come out with a portfolio or a demo reel. And this is really important because you have to show these kinds of employers like Disney or like, television companies or whatnot, what you can do, what you know. So this is Sergio Rincon's VFX reel. He wants to work in the movies, and you'll see why in a second. So this is something that, after 4 years, he can show to an employer to get out there and start making really cool stuff. See how that's so much more important than just saying, I got a degree. That is Sergio on a plate. That's him saying, look, I understand animation and reflectivity, and I know about texturing and all those things. And when we look at movies, in your fancy, your big budget movies, and the effects are seamless, that's because somebody took the time to go through school to learn that. Now, we are so proud of our students. This is another picture page. Spring show. Flicks, blog. We love showing off our student work. Now, the spring show is every year, obviously in the spring, duh. And this is when we bring employers, either virtually or in person, to meet with our students who are close to graduating, and they can build together. They can actually get hired. They can show off their work and show off everything that they've done. And trust me, I've been to the campus, even though I'm here in San Diego, I was training there. I was blown away by the student work that was all over all of those buildings that I got to tour. It was amazing. But ultimately, getting employed is the most important thing. We have a career service department that helps with students. We have internships built into every program because you want to get out there and get experience while you're in school. Having a degree, having a demo reel is one thing. Actually being out there is a very different thing. So we want students to have that experience. So check this out. The volume on this one's a little low. You might want to turn your volume up. But this is just some of the stuff that our alumni and students have actually worked on. Chances are you've probably seen a couple of these things. So I'd be hard pressed to think of anybody that hasn't seen something on that list. And that's why a school like ours exists. It's taking that person that has that creative passion and turning it into a career. All those people that work on all those movies, when you watch the credits on a video game or a television show or whatnot, they have to bring a certain talent to the game, as it were. And so that's what we're all about. So our students, you know, they go out there and they work for companies like these. We have alumni working in all these companies, from video game design to fashion, you name it, plus so much more. And that's what it's really all about, is introducing you to that industry so you can get out there and hopefully start taking your ideas and putting them out there in the world. But let's get back to design. So let's talk about school. This is a project that's kind of cool. This is all about texturing. This is our like animation and video game students have to deal with this because obviously you want realistic textures. So we teach by doing, you know, you teach by, you know, repetition, just like anything else. Now, the bulk of the program is going to be in your major, but of course there are going to be those general education courses kind of scattered throughout there. But here, it's a higher percentage of classes that are actually in your major. We start with foundations. And here's the thing. Every student, regardless of where they come from or what school they went to, is going to start with foundation classes in color, maybe some drawing, some rendering, and then they're going to go into their area that they want to get into, be it, you know, sculpture or fine art, or maybe they want to get into animation, movies, they want to do, you know, video games, etc. They want to do actual architecture. We have our B-Arch and our M-Arch degrees for students who want to get out there and actually build the buildings and the malls and the everything of tomorrow. And if people want to do the interiors as well. Like here's an example of an interior design student's work. This is all 3D design. So an interior designer, you know, if someone wants to build a restaurant, they want to see exactly what that restaurant looks like before they spend a penny on it. So they have to learn about 3D rendering. Same thing with video game design, creating characters, learning about painting and modeling and color, music videos, cartoons, you name it. It starts with a concept and it ends up in reality. Here's the simplest concept in the world. It's a real short film, but it's kind of funny. This is something that will be on Daniel's demo reel. It shows the different software that he knows about and how to put together a, relatively cute short story. This is 100% serious. It took me 3 times watching that to realize that he was a piece of popcorn, and I'm not proud of that. But after a while, I was like, oh my gosh, it's popcorn in a microwave. So anyway, for students who are looking for college, obviously, we want you to talk with someone at admissions. Admissions are the ones that they go through more of the real meat and potatoes of what it takes to become a student at our school. Helping complete the FAFSA, working with you and your family to figure out if you're going to be, doing a dorm or if you're going to be working from home or whatever it's going to be. They go through that process and a lot more with a lot, finer tooth comb, as it were. If you are interested in our school and you are thinking about applying, you definitely want to take advantage of the pre-college art experience. You can see some dates. Everything's online this time around. Obviously, the first class doesn't even start until October 3rd, so there's still time to jump on any of these classes. It's a great way to, even if you don't go to our school, you can build your portfolio for whatever school you need. Now, we do not need ACT or SAT scores or a portfolio for you to come to school. We want students to meet with admissions, go through the entire process before they even apply to our school. We almost do things backwards. It's like we have 12,000 students around the world, and they all met with somebody at admissions first to go over all the expectations. How much time are you going to be spending a week? Where are you going to live? What are you going to be doing? What kind of projects are there, etc. These classes are free. They're short. You can see they only go for about a month and a half. They are through the fall semester as well as the spring and into the summer. So if you're a junior or a sophomore watching this, you have an opportunity to do these all the way through. It's a great way to try out different things. So especially if your parents are kind of like, I don't know about this, you can say, look, I'm going to do a college level course for free from home in drawing and painting, or I want to go into digital design. I want to go into 3D design. I want to make video games. I want to go into animation. I want to go into fashion, etc. I want to work in television, motion pictures. We're in California. This is where it's at. So it's a great opportunity for students to try out different things without making any kind of commitment. But if you do come to our school and you pass 4 of them, that's $4,000 scholarship. Just FYI, scholarships, we take just about any scholarship if it's available to a college, chances are we're going to take it. Our financial aid and admissions crew are there to work with every family. Before you step into class, we want you to be pretty sure that this is the direction you want to go. If you're halfway in between a veterinarian and a graphic designer, we want to make sure that graphic design is the direction you want to go, if that makes any sense. Here's some work from some of our high school students, that have gone through the pre-college art program. You know, you're working with our actual instructors. Our instructors are actually people who do this for a living. So you're learning from people who are in the industry. So here's your first QR code. This is if you want information about the pre-college art experience. And again, this isn't necessarily signing up for our school. That is something that you and your family want to do together, and you want to do that with admissions. And I can answer some general admissions questions later. My printer broke, so I have to switch to a different screen. But this QR code will just take you to this screen, which is some information to where you can start talking with somebody about pre-college art experience, and then set up a time to talk more about the actual admissions process. Again, we don't expect students to have the perfect SATs. We don't even ask for an SAT or an ACT. You know, we want you to really think about if this is something you want to do, because we want graduates. We don't have a lot of students that change their major 8,000 times. We want students to come in feeling really confident that this is at least the direction they want to go. And that's the thing. You don't need to have the absolute idea of what you want to do with your life. You just have to have a direction. I like to say fashion, because fashion's everywhere. Think about the mall. Think about every store you shop, every Target, every Walmart, every mall, every clothing store. Think of all that clothing. And a lot of people go, oh, fashion, you're never going to have a living in fashion. And it's like, that's a $400 billion industry yearly. I mean, it's insane. It's like everybody wears clothing around the world. Someone has to create it. Someone has to market it. Someone has to talk about it. So that's kind of what we do, is we say, look, art is everywhere around you. That is my direct email. You can email me at any time if you have any questions. The link at the bottom does the same thing that the last QR code does. The QR code that's on your screen right now is attendance for the Imperial County Office of Education, so I can know who came. I am open for any kind of questions or whatnot via email. Sometimes students don't think of any, or families don't think of anything until the next day. Here's that QR code for the program for our pre-college art experience program. And I just wanted to say thank you so very much. And you guys probably have a lot of questions. And again, I am kind of more of an outreach person. And so I do have some of the answers, but I hope I answered most of those questions. I think realistically, it's, you know, talking with somebody more with your family instead of just seeing a presentation. They're going to be able to answer so many more questions than I am, but I'm happy to entertain any questions right now. As a person who went to art school, for absolutely, you know, this is 100%. If you have an arts education, you see the world differently. You react to the world differently. Food tastes different. You know, everything that you see, you start kind of seeing, you know, how effective it is or not effective it is. And it's really about communication, because we communicate with each other via, you know, video or whatnot every single day. But in reality, the entire world is communicating with you, and someone designed that. So I want to thank you all so very much. I'm sure Todd probably has some questions for me, or you might. And this is
well, we do, but they're
questions.
We do have a few, yeah, but they're not coming from us. They're coming from students who are tuning in and very interested. John, by the way, thank you. My name's Todd Evangelos, and I work here at Imperial County Office of Ed, and we're hosting this Higher Ed Week for the next 2 weeks. And John Sexton, if you joined us a little bit late, he's from the
Academy of Art University.
Academy of Art specifically the campus is in San Francisco. Although you mentioned that students are doing that from home. And one of the first quick questions I have for you comes from a student who was interested in that pre-college program that you had. I think that was really interesting. Just to confirm, so is the pre-college program available to high school seniors now?
Yes, and it doesn't start until October, and you can take up to 2 in the fall and 2 in the spring, and they are built to not interrupt with your current schooling. They are meant to be about a month and a half, maybe 5 hours a week, but you're working with our instructors and you're being introduced to either concepts or technology to either help you build your own portfolio or try things out. I think it's almost as important to try something, and if you find out that it's not for you, it is just as valuable as finding out it is for you. So if you're kind of like, oh, I always thought I'd be into, fashion, or I'd be into animation or whatnot, and then you start playing around with it, you might say, well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. Or some students, like in video game, in gaming, there's the visuals, but maybe if someone's not as artsy, there's the programming side. So it's kind of just a way to try stuff out with no obligation to us, which I think is really important. Now, you might have all of this is on the website. If you do sign up for the pre-college, again, no obligation. You can try it out for a week, and if you're like, it's not for me, you quit. It's no big deal. What are you out? They will tell you if you need to have specific materials, like for instance, fashion construction. You pretty much have to have a sewing machine, So they let you know well beforehand, what is expected, how much time it's going to take. Some are via Zoom, on Saturdays only for a couple hours on Zoom. Some are just online, and then you communicate with your instructors online and whatnot. But it's especially with everything that we have going on right now. We've been doing pre-college art experience for, I don't know, something like 15, 20 years. And this year, it's normally about maybe 1,000 students in the summer. This summer we had 4,500 students because everybody's locked up at home. It's a great creative outlet. It's a great way to kind of see what's in store for you if you go into something like this.
Great. Well, that sounds like a wonderful opportunity for our students. And so, just to reiterate, you can enroll. I think I saw some start dates that are starting in October. So maybe if you can go back to that slide or something,
Sure.
pull up those dates on that specific thing. As you're doing that, there's a couple other questions.
Sure.
Just as you're getting there, some folks have some questions about cost of attendance.
Okay, that's that. I have to go. I have to go to my other screen. Hold on, just.
So no,
it's all on the. I think I was just looking at it because again, my printer broke because normally I don't cover that stuff. It's like $26,000 a year or something like that. I have to pull it up.
And you can certainly pull up the web page maybe for us, or give us a links to where that specific information would be.
It's just academyart.edu. Did I pass it up? Academyart.edu. We are we've been around for since 1929, so we are very, very transparent. We're very much about making sure that there you go. So we schools like ours, we're not for everybody. We're for creatives. We really want students who come to our school to graduate and go out there and make stuff. So we try to do everything in our power in the beginning to say this is what it's really like. I had days in grad school where I was, I didn't sleep for 48 hours because I was just so excited to work on my projects and whatnot. And this is project-based education, so you can't phone it in. It's for people who are passionate about wanting to create that next new thing. And again, for most people, I always say spend one day peering out your car window at everything, or everything you watch, every ad you see, every television show, every actor, we have acting, we have giant sound stages for people to do this work. And it's usually, I would say it's usually stuff that people take for granted. You go to the mall, there's going to be clothing there. You go to the car, you go to the Ford dealership, and there's going to be the new Explorer. You just go, that's how life is. But no one ever really stops for a second to go, gosh, where did the idea for that car probably started 3 years ago and had to go through 1,000 modifications and go through 1,000 hands, and people picking out fabric for the seats and people picking out colors and what colors are going to be in style. And it's just, these things that we take for granted every single day, the cereal box aisle, at the grocery store. You're just like, oh, there's the corn pops and there's the Cheerios and whatnot. You instantly recognize that stuff, and we don't think that, about every month there's a graphic designer somewhere that's redeveloping that box to grab your attention, and they're getting paid, and they live down the street from you probably, and you wouldn't even know it.
There's a creative mind behind every process in our world.
Dumb glasses I'm wearing, this horrible shirt, it's like,
yeah, maybe not so creative on the shirt.
You just kind of, you just like, yeah, that's great.
And what I also liked hearing you say earlier was that art can be taught, not necessarily instinctive.
Absolutely.
So that's essentially what the Academy of Art is all about, is teaching art and teaching creativity.
Absolutely. Growing up, there was a few of us in school that maybe not the best thing for teachers to hear, but I was doodling nonstop. I was constantly drawing and doing, I'm going to draw a car, I'm going to draw a tank, I'm going to draw a person, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people think like, oh, you're an amazing artist, you must be born with it. And the reality is you have to have that spark, drawing can be taught. Creativity, where your brain goes, that's you. And if you have that, the drawing comes with time. I had to take drawing 101 in college. I had to take sculpture 101 in college, and all of a sudden it's like, oh gosh, I never really looked at an apple and the shadow it casts and how light reflects off of it. And it's like taking education, just like in anything, is stepping back and looking at a particular concept or idea or whatnot and saying, have you ever really thought about this? It's true in business, real estate. It's true in medicine. Have you ever really thought about what's taking place, and do you want to be a part of that? And if you're a creative person, that creative element is something that carries through, day to day. Just like, I'm sure if you're an educator, that there's that spark that says, I've got this wealth of information and I want to share it with somebody. Like what you guys are doing right now. It's like, we have this amazing opportunity to bring all these people together. How can we do that? And it's got to be incredibly fulfilling for you guys. At the end of this 2 weeks, you guys are probably going to be like, oh my gosh, we've reached out to so many people and made so many awesome connections. So it's a creative person just does that and just does it in a different way. Or a person in pre-med is the same way. I want to help people. So it really kind of comes down to the kind of person. We don't want to be UCLA. We're happy being the Academy of Art University. 12,000 students is just right.
Well, and if a student is thinking, once again, just to double down on this pre-college art experience that you guys have,
Yep.
If a student is interested, even if they want to say to themselves that they want to go to a community college, or they even have plans to go on to UCLA,
Yep.
but they want to exercise this creative gene in them, what a wonderful opportunity. So the slide that we have on the screen right now gives details about that. But
Brand new, free. And then the that has all the info, and then the actual you can do this one, the academyofart.edu, JH Lead, or you can do the QR code. But again,
let's leave it on that screen, because that gives a QR code to admissions. And so a lot of questions that students might have at this point is related to admissions. So some of those questions would be on what your university requires for admissions and minimum requirements and eligibility to apply, and how a student would go. Well, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, pretty much graduating high school, or having a high school equivalency or a GED is the most important thing. Again, because we don't really see scores as especially in a creative field. What's an SAT score going to say to someone who's it wants to go into photography? Who knows? You not that good at history, but you sure can point a camera. So the most important thing for us, again, is meeting with someone in admissions. You can go to, you can contact me, or you can go to academyart.edu. We do not require a portfolio. We do not require SAT or ACT scores or anything like that. You do have to graduate high school. I mean, that's where WASC accredited. I mean, we just want you to make sure that this is a good fit for you. And that is I think that is the most important thing is if you're looking at any school, looking at what's the best fit for you, you know, what makes sense as far as your investment. You know, we're a private school. We're family owned since 1929, believe it or not. And, you know, if you saw the equipment and you saw the facilities that we have, you'd be like, oh my gosh, you know, the tuition's up there, but it's like tuition's up there everywhere. I look at tuition as an investment in yourself. And I don't mean to sound cheesy, but that is, it's sometimes hard to think about that when you're a senior in high school and you've got everything else going on in your brain. But college is, if you find the right fit, it's absolutely an investment in yourself. And you have to remember that almost every single day, because not everybody wants to go to class at 8 o'clock in the morning, and not everybody else wants to, you know, do all the things they have to do. You should, there's not going to be a perfect day every day. You're not going to want to get up every single day and go to class or go online or whatever. And it is work, but all that work is just for you. It is just for your brain. It's for your future. It's for the people that surround you, you know, exposing yourself to so many different possibilities, and then hopefully finding that one that allows you to, you know, become the best version of you and make a living. Oh my gosh, you know, wouldn't that be incredible to talk about shoes all day if you love shoes? And oh my gosh, I get to design shoes. How awesome would that be? There are people that do that for a living. There are people that design toys for a living. There are people that design, you know, beds and, you know, everything around you, someone designs. So imagine doing something that you love absolutely every day, making people happy, and you get to go home and say, you know what? I didn't just push pencil. I didn't just, you know, make a spreadsheet. I created a cool new bed sheet set that's going to end up for kids at Kohl's all around the country or all around the world. I know that sounds weird for some, but it's like somebody designed that bed sheet set for those kids with the little ducks on it, and they're happy as heck that it was purchased, and it's part of some kid's life. And I know that's a weird journey, but it's true.
But it's a job for somebody to do, and somebody's going to get paid to do that.
They get paid to do that. Imagine that. Imagine all those doodles. You get paid to doodle.
John, I have a couple more questions for you. Maybe
Sure.
A couple rapid fire things for you. You mentioned housing. That was real interesting. Living in San Francisco, I can imagine how difficult it would be to find a house down there.
That's at half. Yeah, half of our dorms half of our buildings are dorms. We're the second largest landowner in San Francisco, believe it or not. And about half of our buildings are dorms, and they have everything from if you want an all female dorm or an all male dorm, or if you want a shared dorm, if you want a swimming pool, if you don't want the swimming pool, if you want, we have meal plans. You know, one of the things I loved when I was in training is I went to our main building, and I walked back and forth to the hotel that they put me up, and it's just like walking, you're just like, oh my gosh, there's so much here, and it's all like really quick or really close. But we also have a 24/7 what do you call them, bus, like a shuttle service that goes from all of our buildings, because students might have different classes in different buildings, and at every single building they have the schedule, and they could just go out with their badge and go, hey, and just take a shuttle wherever they want to go. So even if it's not another building, they can go close to another attraction or restaurant that they want to go to or whatnot. So we're very big into, security and whatnot. That's why we have the shuttles available to all students. All the buildings are, regulated, which means you have to have a badge to get into any one of our buildings on campus.
Good, that's great to know. And there's a couple other detailed questions about whether pets are allowed in dorms and some other stuff, but that information likely would be available if they click on the QR code to go specific and talk to somebody at admissions, I would assume.
Yeah, so that'll take them. If you do the QR code that one will take you to pre-college, but someone is going to reach out to you.
Okay.
Definitely put in your address because we do send out some cool stuff in the mail and whatnot. But whoever reaches out to you next, because I don't call everybody that I talk to. I'll send an email. But again, anybody can email me. Just jsexton@academyart.edu. Yeah, they will definitely. They're going to be that inroad to either admissions or pre-college. It doesn't really matter. They're there to assist every single family that comes through. And right now is it's a weird time, but so they're a lot of everyone's working from home. I have a really good friend that I used to work with that's down the street, and he's an admissions rep with us. So it's kind of interesting. Like we have slightly different but the same job. And we're both in San Diego, so
Now, some other questions that we have from students who've been logged on so far. By the way, good numbers here this afternoon. So I want to thank everybody who's tuned in. Presumably, it's a lot of high school seniors as our target audience, but sometimes there's parents and educators as well that have joined in. So what you're watching is, I guess, the 1 o'clock hour for the Higher Ed Week here in Imperial County. And we have the Academy of Art University here with us right now, John Sexton with us, and we're finishing up with a few more questions from them. We have a couple more universities coming online throughout the rest of the day. At the top of every hour is a new university. So John, real quick, some specific stuff. Maybe this would be something pushed over to admissions, but one student says, hey, I want to do some animation program, but I also want to be in the National Guard.
We are just so
Guard, that's easy to do.
We're Title IV funded. We're also a GI Yellow Ribbon school. So that is something that we have a lot. Especially, actually, believe it or not, down here in San Diego, being such a military town, we have a lot of students who are doing online learning, either through their active duty program or working with if they've recently they've gosh, I can't remember what the word is, but they're no longer in the Navy or
like the reserve, or they might be in
or they're just depending on the educational program. You definitely want to talk. If you're active, you want to talk with your education director, because they'll talk about like tuition assistance or whatnot for anybody who has been discharged honorably or whatnot, honorably discharged pretty much, and you get your GI Bill. We are a Yellow Ribbon school, so we do have a lot of especially in San Diego, ex-Marines and ex-Navy and even some of their children who are using their GI Bill benefits through the school. And it is, we try to, it is like any other program. If you're actively somewhere else and you're learning online, which a lot of our students are, you just have to pay attention to time management and whatnot. But sometimes it takes a little bit longer to do an entire program online because you're going to do fewer classes at any given time. But again, that's something that we have support system, just like any college or university. We have support systems in student success. We do have different social programs, either be it online or on ground if they're when we get back to being on ground. The sports programs, we have the career services programs, help with your resume, help with your job leads and things like that. We do not guarantee jobs. Never go to a school that guarantees you a job. But we want to do everything in our power to make sure that our graduates are employable. That takes work. Just going to school, walking in the building or logging in all that knowledge just doesn't pour into your brain. You have to do the work. And that's where the successful people that work for those really cool companies that I told you about, they're the ones that push themselves and they say, I want to be that person.
Great stuff, John. Appreciate your time today.
Sure.
There are a couple other questions that are out there, but
sure.
A lot of them have to do with in particular majors, and if I want to be a cartoonist, what would be the major? At the beginning
Right.
of your presentation, I know you had a listing of all the different things, which was somewhat
Hmm.
surprising to me, of all
Yeah.
the different things that art touches and all the things that the Academy of Art has
Hmm.
kind of under its umbrella. So, where would students at this point, where would they go for more
Just
information?
Academy Art. It's not Academy of Art. It's just academyart.edu. I had it somewhere. I know it's in here somewhere. Oh, maybe I don't. Anyway, well, it's just here, just the academyart.edu, but you don't have to do the JLead. That just takes you to me basically. But if you just do academyart.edu,
Mhm.
you there's absolutely everything you ever wanted to know about. I mean, it's packed with so much information, and again, it's almost overwhelming. So yeah, we do drawing for cartoons, we do writing for comic books, drawing for comic books. It's our illustration department is just amazing. Like if you think about every children's book, that all the illustrations that are in any kind of book, people go to class. So there's if someone's creative, again, it's really kind of great to be able to talk with somebody, with your family. And the family is so important, as everyone knows, like bringing the parents together. Don't do this stuff on your own. Make sure your parents or your guardians or your whoever, your support is with you when you're on this journey, because it's just as important that you learn the stuff that they learn this stuff. So you can go to the website, you can see a ton of work, you can see all the numbers and everything, but ultimately you want to talk with a person. And these are people that, again, I don't want to sell you my school. We don't want everybody coming to our school, because our school is not for everyone. Our school is for the creatives, our school is for the techies, the people who love animation and whatnot. That's who we're for. So that's what it kind of comes down to.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining
You're
us.
welcome.
You
Thank
know,
you so much for having me.
yeah,
That's
you
great.
reminded me of things that I knew about your school, but I also learned new things today. So I completely appreciate
That's awesome. Yay.
everything that you provided today. Just, I'm hoping that some of our students found what they were looking for today. I know we have a lot of creative, artistic students here in Imperial.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm
please,
hoping.
again, feel free to don't apologize for emailing me. jsextonacademyart.edu. I'm happy to answer any questions. Again, you'll probably be better off talking with somebody in admissions, but thank you so much for having me. I will stop sharing my screen.
Awesome. And students,
That's
please,
you.
students, families, educators on the call, please take advantage. Our reps are so good about sharing their contact information with us and would really like to engage. So don't hesitate. If you have a question, send the email. He'll get back.
Absolutely.
So thanks so much.
So, am I done?
You're done. Thank you
You
so
guys have. I'll see you next year.
much. Alrighty. Take care.
Alrighty. Bye bye.